Good morning. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science here in New York City. I want to welcome all of you on the Zoom call, everyone on social media, our extended audience all over the world. So let's begin with an affirmative prayer. We want to take a moment to realize that we are part of a magnificent experience. At this very instant, life is surrounding us and flowing within us. Breathe it in and know that you are one with the One. Let's absorb its essence. I declare that we cherish this life, for it is the health of our bodies and minds, the foundation of our relationships, and the spark of all of our endeavors. Today's lesson was inspired from Raymond Charles Barker's manuscript called The God Factor, which got me to think a little bit about one of my favorites, which is Pascal's wager. I have a short story for you before we begin the lesson that will amplify the message, I hope. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled amid rolling hills, there lived a thoughtful and very curious man named John. John had always been intrigued by the question of whether God truly existed. He had heard about Pascal's wager, a famous argument that suggested it might be rational to believe in God even without conclusive evidence. One bright and sunny morning, John decided to take a walk through the village, and he contemplated this age-old question. As he strolled along a narrow path, he came across an old, wise sage. The sage's name was Samuel, who was known throughout the village for his profound wisdom. John approached Samuel and asked, "Samuel, I've been wrestling with the question of whether or not to believe in God. What are your thoughts on this matter?" Samuel, with a knowing smile, began to share a story. He said, "Imagine, John, that you're in a dense forest, and you must choose one of two paths to follow. One path leads to hidden treasure, while the other path is a treacherous journey with no reward at the end. Now, you have no way of knowing for sure which path leads to the treasure and which does not. Now, you have a choice to make. It's a very important decision. You can choose to believe that a benevolent guide is leading you and that following the path will lead you to the treasure. Or you can choose not to believe in any guide at all and take your chances on a random path. If you believe in the guide and follow the path, you might find treasures of every kind. If you don't believe and choose the wrong path, you may end up lost in the middle of the forest with nothing to show for it." John pondered Samuel's story for a moment and then said, "So you're saying that the belief in God is like believing in the guide, and not believing is like choosing the path at random?" Samuel nodded. "Exactly, John. Pascal's wager suggests that it might be wiser for us to believe in this source, this guide, this energy, because the potential rewards and happiness are so great that it will always outweigh the risk of being wrong. So just like in the forest, believing in the guide has a potentially much higher payoff." John thanked Samuel for his wisdom and continued his walk, deep in thought. And as he wandered through the village, he realized that Pascal's wager had given him a new perspective on the question of belief in God. While he couldn't prove God's existence with absolute certainty, he understood that belief had its own rationality, driven by the potential, the happiness, and the rewards of faith. The question of God, the God factor, remained a mystery still, but John felt a newfound sense of peace as he contemplated the possibilities, guided by the wisdom of Samuel and the lessons of the forest. So I want to add to that, there's absolutely no downside to living the affirmative life. I remember loving Pascal's wager in college, which seems like eons ago, but the exam question, and the answer was to bet on God. It's a safer way to live. So in the wager, Henri Pascal, if I remember, was a French mathematician, philosopher. The idea is you live your life as though it is, and see the good and see the riches, and as a result of your seeing, you will experience them. There's no downside ever to living the affirmative life. I'm reminded of Reverend Ike as I was putting this lesson together, who used to say, you just can't lose with the stuff we use. There's absolutely no downside to living your life from an affirmative standpoint. Ernest Holmes wrote a book. He wrote a lot of different books. The book I'm referring to now is the book, This Thing Called Life, where he emphasized the importance of being alive, really alive, so alive that you can cherish your very aliveness, the aliveness that you have. And he was encouraging us to find ways to be in sync with creativity, to wake yourself up and appreciate the gift of life that you have. He encouraged us to appreciate and enjoy each and every moment. Once we slow down and we contemplate that you have this powerful energy within, then we start to learn that we can deliberately and constructively use this power. If your life is just spinning out of control, you're reacting to everything, chances are you're not even conscious of the power that you have at your disposal. Over and over, you'll hear me quoting Ernest Holmes, saying that we have power, infinite power for good available to us. And most importantly, he said, it's within us and we can use it. And whether you know it or not, it's responding to you all of the time. It responds to our every thought. And the thing is, that's really incredible if you think about it. This power is responding to your every thought. When I was younger, I spent many days praying for many things. I went to parochial school. Maybe you did that type of praying when you were younger, or maybe some of you still do. I didn't know back then that we can't manipulate the universe. I somehow thought I could. There was a time when I thought I could get what I wanted, maybe by pleading or begging, or maybe if I could become better in some way, I would get rewarded. I would make promises to this spirit, this higher power. There was the notion that somehow I could get it to do something for me, that I wanted it to do for me. And again, that I had to get better and do more to be rewarded. I didn't know in those days that my value as a spiritual being was already established since the day I came here. No one told me that I was a valuable individualization of this creative essence. I didn't know that I was one with this one spirit. So if you're coming in on this call or this gathering and you're new and you're just learning some of this now, maybe you're learning that you are valuable. Maybe you haven't heard that enough in your life, and that you're really important. And maybe you're hearing for the first time that you are one with this one energy, and that God doesn't make junk, that you're incredible, you're wonderful, you're an infinite individualization of this divine stuff. So if you haven't heard it before, you're hearing it now, and you're hearing it from me. And I'm really happy to be able to tell it to everybody. We come together week after week, class after class, to be reminded that we are one with this one energy, and that we have it within us always. Even when we don't think we do, or even when we feel most lost, it's there. If you go there, it's there. And we can go there and we can commune with it, and we can learn to align ourselves with it. Rather than trying to manipulate, we go there and we learn to align ourselves with it. We can let ourselves be informed because it's always there offering guidance. If you will only listen, you be still and you realize that you're part of this God, and it will speak to you through you. So if we slow down and listen, you can ask questions and you will receive answers. Life responds to you. Here's the thing to understand. Life has always responded to you. Life always will respond to you. This creative intelligence, this loving source, responds to every thought. It doesn't miss a single one. I used to be praying again for all kinds of things, I promise you. I've told you before, I encountered a practitioner many years ago. She said to me something that has stuck with me for decades. She said, Greg, the universe so loves you that it responds to your every thought. It doesn't miss a one. That was such a profound statement. See, I used to pray to a God that I thought answered me sometimes, and sometimes I was waiting forever. But this practitioner, Mary, said, the universe so loves you, adores you, that it responds to your every thought. It doesn't miss a one. So that's an incredible statement. I'm happy to pass it on to you. It's really changed my life. So please take it in for yourself. Understand that life, the process of life, so loves you that it responds to you. Your worth is without doubt. You cannot even understand your own value. You and all of us are points of awareness within this loving energy. And this energy, this love, this creative essence both inspires us and responds to our thoughts. So choose good ones, choose expansive ones, choose life-giving thoughts. Lift up your own thinking. Be generous with your praise, both to yourself and to others, to everyone you encounter. If you do, and when you do, you'll start to see more beauty in your world as a result. Go around and see the people who don't get many hellos and say hi to them. Make it your business to be a lifter. Often I say life is mirroring what is in your heart and in your mind, so think great thoughts. When you find yourself going off course, getting upset or angry or anything like that, gently and really lovingly bring yourself back. Center yourself in the reality, the ultimate reality, that all is well. Again, all is well. Release the need. As soon as you see yourself going off in those places, release the need to keep the negative stuff going on. Whenever you find yourself nurturing any kind of negative thing, find a way to stop it. Find a way to deal with it. Find a way to release it. Some of you will want to use affirmations. We talk about affirmations and affirmative prayer a lot, and they can be very powerful. And some of you, in the process, will want to release whatever it is that you are habitually saying or thinking. The point of power, as you all know, you hear me say almost every week from Louise, is in the present moment. And we want to be in new moments. We don't want to keep bringing in our past, our past hurts. We want to be able to see people with fresh eyes. So we really want to be clear with people as best we can, and so we can be fresh and alive in new moments. I would suggest everybody do your best to clear your consciousness of debris, any kind of animosity or drama, anything you're holding onto, anything that might be holding you back. Because we want to feel that aliveness within us. And it's very difficult to feel that when we're constricted or when we're upset or we're angry. So we want to release the need to carry any of that. There's a book, A Course in Miracles, which talks about grievances. And one of the books I remember being fond of was Love Holds No Grievances. So you an aspect of this loving energy, you want to find the way to release any and all of that, any negativity, anything that's causing you to look to the past and feel bad. So we do that because we want to feel alive, we want to feel good, we want to feel one with the one. Each and every day, we remind ourselves to let it all go, to release the need for whatever it is. That's another great tool that I learned along the way. I released the need for whatever it is. I used to try to figure out what was causing everything, and of course that can drive you crazy. When you find yourself in a negative place, you can simply go to consciousness and go within, and whatever comes up for you, you can release the need for whatever it is, and be open to what you need to learn. But the point of power is always in the present moment, and you can't be there if you're nurturing any of these states of consciousness that just keep you away from experiencing the beauty and the good. So if you were to go to our textbook, you'd find Ernest Holmes saying different things about affirmative prayer. In the glossary, you would read, it's the time, it's the art, it's the method of releasing the negativity or the negation so that you can experience and commune with Spirit and see and experience the beauty, the love, which is everywhere present. So you have the ability to live in this world where you can commune with Spirit and live in beauty, see beauty, have peace. But something's required of you. You need to let go of all that stuff. So we can't feel this beauty, this aliveness, this joy if you're carrying a lot of negative stories. Ernest Holmes called them ancient corpses. We won't feel this beautiful connection if we're weighted down with pain, with anger, and resentments. Who has a problem? If I'm angry, I'm bent out of shape and all of that, then I have the problem. It does no good to be blaming your life circumstances on another person. I learned that so well many years ago with a wonderful therapist who would always ask me, who's got the problem? If you're disturbed, you're the person who has the problem. So I know a lot of us have spent time trying to straighten other people out, and I'm here to tell you it's a waste of time. Don't even try. Everybody is where they are because that's where they need to be for the time, and they're learning lessons. So the place we want to be is we want to be living in this aliveness, this wonderful energy, and knowing that we're a part of it. We want to commune with Source, and we're not able to if we're all caught up in the mess, or what we call here separation. We're in separation if we're angry. We're in separation if we're yelling and screaming. We're in separation if we're acting out in all kinds of ways. So our goal is to take that pause that we talk about that refreshes, to go within and to feel that aliveness, know that Spirit is in you, operating through you all the time. Ernest Holmes famously said, "Find me one person who is so redeemed from the bondage of self, and I will want to commune with that person, hang out with that person. Find me one person who's so redeemed from the bondage of self." That's what we strive to be. We strive to be free. We want to experience life in such a way that it's light, joyous, and we're happy, joyous, and free. There's many, many ways to release the things that we hang on to, that we cling to, that we carry. And we go over these, and we will go over these in our future classes. It's good today simply to start by saying, I'm willing to release the past and forgive myself and everyone. Now that might not be easy for some people, but that's certainly a goal. And we can say it again. I'm willing to release the past and forgive myself and forgive everyone. If you can do that and mean it, it'll take you a long way in your spiritual journey. Of course, we have to stay with it, but saying it to yourself, I'm willing to release the past and forgive myself and everyone, that will take you such a long way, a very long way. So I'm doing a review, as you know, of the God Factor, which was one of Barker's manuscripts, where he questions whether it's real, this thing itself, or is it a theory? And that's why I introduced Henry Pascal with his wager. Let me read you a little poem that we have here about that. The poem I put together is entitled, Is God a Theory? So here it goes. In the realms of thought, we oftentimes inquire, is God a theory, or does the divine inspire? Pascal's wager, a choice to contemplate. Life as if God's real and open the heavenly gate. Is God a concept, an idea, or something more? A presence felt deep within our core? As we journey through this mystic land, let's ponder if it's a theory or if it's the ultimate plan. For some, it's faith that makes it all real. A truth to guide, to think and feel. In every heart, a yearning to explore. the God factor's mystery forevermore. In theory or fact, let's seek to find the essence of God in every kind. In every thought, in every prayer, may we discover the divine's presence beyond compare. So as we gather today in this sacred space, let's open our hearts to embrace the God factor, whether theory or truth, and find in our journey the ultimate proof. And so it is. So that was fun putting that together, which was for our Barker notes today. Raymond Charles Barker was talking about the God factor in one of his Sunday presentations, and I got a hold of a manuscript. And I've got a few of the excerpts from the talk. He said, many members of the community might live for decades to come. He was addressing the audience. You might have another 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. And that morning he commented, it's crucial that we truly be alive during those years. And he pointed out something I point out to you from time to time, that it's much later than any of us know and any of us think. So we don't want to put off living. There are lots of songs that came to mind when I was putting this lesson together. I think it was from YouTube. The lyric was, it's a beautiful day, don't let it get away, right? I'm sure you remember that one. Or Leon Womack's, dance, I hope you dance. We all want to live, and we want to live and really experience the best of life, right? We want to experience the beautiful day and not let it get away. We want to live every minute of it. Another talk I've done from Auntie Mame was, life's a banquet, but a lot of people aren't experiencing life as a banquet. So you definitely can here. We challenge you here, like Barker was with that beautiful talk, that manuscript. He said members of our community might be living for decades to come, but he's really saying it's crucial that you live. You wake yourself up and realize that you're alive and you have power, and live every minute. He went on to say, over the years, I've encountered many, many students who stumbled upon their teachings late in life, and their constant reflection and response has been, oh, I wish I'd known this earlier. I wish I'd known this, And for those of you on the call who found us recently, I want to say congratulations. It's like you have a divine appointment. You're here. And the only thing I can encourage you is keep on attending. Because I've seen it happen. People come upon our teaching, they love what they hear, and they disappear for a while. And some of the lucky ones show up at a later point. Half of it is just showing up. And show up and let yourself be reminded, let yourself bask in just us reminding you of how great you are, and that you're valuable, that you're powerful, and life is responding to you. And keep on reminding you that all is well. So that's all I can say to do, is keep encouraging you. And if you're new today, welcome, welcome. Again, there's no accident that you're here. There's a spiritual truth that Barker was conveying that I will repeat. We are always where we need to be, learning precisely what we need to learn, precisely what the universe intends for us. We are, in fact, in the perfect place at the perfect time, all the time. A question comes up from the Barker in the God Factor lesson, where he was asking his audience the significant question. When you're faced with, big challenges, what do you do? Do you rely on your faith? Or do you go to fear? And you try to immediately figure it out yourself? So I'll ask the question, when you have, big challenges, or what seems like big challenges, what do you go to? Do you go to faith, or do you go someplace else? Barker didn't think most people went to faith. He said they usually start using their great minds and their great intellects, and our intellects and our minds go to work, he thought. But that's not true for all of us. Some of us will go to faith immediately. The human mind has a tendency to be analytical, and we forget that we have this infinite intelligence within us that will answer any and all questions. So when we're just using our intellect, we're most likely just responding to whatever is happening. And Raymond Charles Barker said, you will find often that your intellect will work against you because we forget that we are connected with this infinite source of knowledge and wisdom. We forget that we have everything within us that we could ever possibly need. We forget that all is well and everything is in divine order. So that's why it's really important to stay plugged in with the teaching, the classes, as often as you can, and also to do affirmations and affirmative prayer. We used to have an expression, we do our affirmative prayers early, late, and often, which essentially means we keep affirming and affirming and affirming and releasing and releasing. As you do that, your life will start to, you lift your consciousness up and your life starts to reflect a higher state of consciousness. So we do our spiritual work in mind, we do it in consciousness. Here's the thing, every last one of us are human and we make mistakes. We sin, so to speak. And I joke with that word because Alan Cohen referred to sinning as, we have a lot of self-imposed nonsense, but we're all doing the best we can with what we know. And sometimes we forget. And we want to take the positive approach that Louise Hay was talking about. We're not here to criticize ourselves because we made mistakes or criticize others. We're here to love and support ourselves and build ourselves up and build other people up as well. Living the affirmative life is what we do, it's what we teach. We want to keep seeing the good and the God that's unfolding in every single situation. We look for the pony in that mess. The old joke, there must be a pony in here somewhere. It's the person who's, there's manure all around, and the consciousness is there must be a pony in this someplace. We look to see the good no matter what. If you're in the New Thought movement and you really are trying to practice this teaching, we know that everything is spirit in action, everything is spirit unfolding, life is unfolding. By means of spirit. Spirit is within you. You are greater now than you have ever been at any time in your life. You know more than you ever have known. You've learned a lot. You've become wiser. So if you're taking this metaphysical approach where you're seeing the good, you're practicing the awareness of spirit in your life, things are going to improve for you. They have to, if you only stay with it. So we want to stay with it. We want to be open to inner guidance. Many years ago when I was facilitating self-healing classes in the Louise Hay groups, right after the book came out, there was a Reverend Bill Cameron, and he was a very influential figure in my life. And I've shared his story before. He was a gifted teacher. And in his early years, he was studying psychology, and then he became interested in abnormal psychology. And he thought he was going to get a PhD because he was fascinated with the human mind. And again, he's somebody who taught me a lot. And I remember his words after he told me that he was considering going for his doctorate. He said, I stopped it all. He says, because I got so good at seeing what was wrong with people and diagnosing what was wrong with people. So my analytical skills were so good. I could see every single flaw. I could look at that person, pull out my DSM-5, 4 or 5, and I could tell you what the mental illness was or the personality disorder and all that. And then his second statement was even more profound when he said to me, I realized that I was doing life backwards. I realized that I was on earth. I realized, he said, I was here on earth to see the goodness in people and to practice acceptance and love. So sometimes our analytical skills can trip us up. It's really easy to see what's wrong and what's missing in other people. It's a different skill, and I would suggest perhaps a better skill to see the beauty and to see the truth and see what's wonderful about other people. Because then you become a part of the solution, you become a lifter. You know that my former teachers have asked that question, which I've asked of you. Are you a lifter? Are you the person who lifts people up, pretty much, wherever you go? Or are you pretty much a drag? You weighing everybody down. wherever you are, you're in the perfect right place. But the thing is, if you're in this teaching, you're looking to lighten the load. You're really looking to love, accept, and approve of yourself. Get out of the blame game. You get focused on working on yourself, because when you really love yourself, as Louise pointed out, everything's going to start to work much better. When you really begin to love yourself, you'll find that people start to change around you. So with Reverend Cameron, he realized that focusing on diagnosing problems and flaws in others with his great intellectual skills was not a path to enlightenment. This insight, it's like Paul on the road to Damascus. He finally got, oh my God, I'm doing my life the exact opposite of what I want to do. This insight led him to ministry, to become a great New Thought minister, where he absolutely learned to look past the flaws and see the beauty in everybody, recognizing the divine essence in every individual. So that conversation I had with him years ago impacted me quite a bit, because I was pretty good at reading a room or a group of people very quickly. I was a trained therapist also. And, you know, I could spot problems and people with problems a mile away. I just listen, you can hear. But thanks to this man, this Reverend Cameron, and my work with Louise, my consciousness was quite rapidly changing and evolving. And I wanted to get rid of all those external judgments, those opinions, and those criticisms, because honest to God, they take you nowhere you want to go. I realized that most of these people, most of the people I was judging, what I was seeing in other people, most of these issues were more about me than the people I was observing or even talking about. So Dr. Bill Cameron, as well as Dr. Tolliver, encouraged me, both in their own way, suggested it's time to step out of that world. You know, the world where we're constantly complaining, pointing fingers about other people, what's wrong with them, what they've done to me, where we're constantly portraying ourselves as victims. It's really very easy to get caught up where all of your orientation and languaging seems to be external. You're talking about what everybody's watching, what everybody's saying, what everybody's wearing, the events of the day, the news. You know, all of your conversations can be external, and you're probably only getting part of it right. It's very, very easy to just live in reaction to everything around you. And I would say that that's what most of the world does. Most of the world is not living what we call the affirmative life that we teach here. A lot of people are in survival, and they're just reacting to the thing that just preceded them. There's one reaction after another. So we want to find a way to slow that down, stop that. We've talked recently about taking some time outs with our digital stuff, time out with yourself and for yourself. So you can take a pause and get centered and not live in reaction to everything. So that was Barker's lesson, basically, and he said it was a sad commentary that most of humanity lives in reaction to what's going on in their lives all day long. Dr. Bill Tolliver used to say the masses are always wrong, and he was teaching us about Emerson and suggesting that we all try to become original thinkers and to go within self and realizing within you is wisdom. You can go to yourself, within yourself, for the answers. Both of these great New Thought teachers would suggest that we slow down and understand that our lives really don't have a lot to do with other people. Our lives have to do with us and our consciousness. And you'll hear me say often, in truth, there's nothing outside of you, because your consciousness is caused your own experience. That's what we're always working on. The conversation that matters most always is the conversation you're having with yourself. That's the creative conversation that's being projected into your life. And that's the conversation that goes over and again, round and round in your heads, much like a projector, like and is mirrored into your life. Often I tell you, Dr. Tolliver said to all of his students that we have the ability to think great thoughts and commune with great minds. And we do, or I try to. We wake up to the fact that we are one with this creative substance. We wake up to the idea that this substance is in everything and it responds to us. That's a very big idea, that the substance is in you and everyone and it responds to you. That's a great idea. For many, many years, in many ways, I've contemplated the idea that there is this one energy, this one love, and it responds. I shared before I was working, when I was younger, on Cape Cod for a year or two, repeating to myself, I'm supplied and I'm supported, I'm supplied and I'm supported. Or I'd say this, whatever it was, is God in my life. And you can imagine me, young kid, I'm just working in restaurants, doing whatever, saying, this is God in my life, everything is God in my life. And no matter what was happening, and I was writing in a daily journal, I was having spiritual experiences because I was just kept doing those affirmations. I'm supplied and supported, this is God in my life. And I'm sure since I was contemplating this source energy all the time, I was bringing on all these somewhat blissful experiences, or serendipitous experiences that were filled with joy. I'm reminded of a quote, you've all probably heard it before, attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt, where she said, great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, small minds discuss people. I'm not using that quote to put any of us down. I'm only saying it, I'm simply saying it to suggest each of us have the capacity to think wonderful, great, and expansive thoughts that will lift us so high. Thoughts that will lift us to places, unexplored places, to places of joy and great fulfillment. And if you keep doing it, if that's your commitment, to go higher and higher, to refuse to be offended, and just keep on lifting it up, your consciousness, the world is going to open, and worlds of realization are going to open for you. Louise Hay understood this when she said, all healing is self-healing, suggesting that each of us can have such a rich life. We can have a deep and beautiful inner experience of life. And as you nurture this inner reality, it has a tendency to reflect in the outer. So I'm hoping this message gets to people today and helps them realize that the good that they want comes from letting go of the stories that they're nurturing, the grudges, the resentments, because all that stuff simply holds us back. Talking about people honestly, it's a waste of time. People don't change anyway. Raymond Charles Barker, I told you, that was one of his best talks. And once everybody attended, he told them that you can't change people. So talking about people is a waste of time. If you keep nurturing the old ideas, the old tapes, the old hurts, won't bring you any kind of new experience. So my suggestion from today's talk is always to be here now. When you find yourself lamenting anything anyone's done to you or said to you, stop. In the name of love, stop. When anything fearful comes up or anything negative, notice it, learn what you need to learn from it, deal with it in whatever way is most appropriate for you. You might say, I could see peace instead of this. That's something that's helped me throughout the years. I could see peace instead of anything. You have the power to do that because you absolutely can do it if you really want to. That's part of the challenge. A lot of people get I don't know what the benefit is, but they hang on to these resentments. You can see peace instead if you really want to. So we are embracing the positive approach, the affirmative life, and it's up to us to stay the course. One of the best ways is stay tuned into these classes. Plus, we broadcast around the clock on Facebook and YouTube. It's our intention to keep seeing the good, the God, in every situation. And if you don't like those words like God, which I understand, I use it less and less, substitute. Use words that mean something to you. It's our intention then to see the good and source or this wonderful energy in everything. The idea, though, is to see perfection that's unfolding in you and through you and in everyone and all the time. As we draw our lesson to a close, I want to express gratitude for your presence here today. Your very presence and all your wonderful comments enrich our collective journey, and it's what makes First Center, First Church so special. Stay tuned for a very brief break, and we'll be opening the floor up to your comments about the talk or your good news or your demonstrations. This is a chance also to say hello if you're new and what part of the country you're from. So we'll see you on the other side of the break. Thank you.